welcome to my channel. I'm back after a few weeks. I'm sorry that I've been absent. I've just taken a big period of time off, really, given myself a real break from everything because I had such a lot going on. I was still sort of carrying on doing what I do, but just took a bit of a break from YouTube here because that, again, is quite time consuming. But today I'm talking about releasing resistance. This is only going to be a short video to ease me back in gently, just some tricks for you to release that resistance that's going on within you. So first of all, what do I class as resistance? I class attachment to the outcome as resistance because you can feel that resistance, can't you? When you're looking for the outcome all the time, you can feel it inside of you. And I class subconscious belief which goes against what you're trying to create as resistance. And I'm going to try and talk about creation rather than manifestation because I don't really like the word manifest, as I've said before, because I think it implies you have to wave a magic wand and then something will magically appear in front of you. Now, I kind of do see it like that, but I get that most people don't. And sometimes when I refer to it as magic, I know it's not magic. Obviously I do. I think it's all to do with quantum. And people sort of say, oh, it's not magic, and they don't like to hear that. But that's just I just like to think of it like that because it's quite playful and it's quite childish, I suppose, but I like that. So resistance is if you have a deep subconscious belief that goes against what you want to create, then that is resistance. So first of all, if you will probably know that you have a belief that goes against what you're trying to create, particularly if it's trying to bring your ex back or bring a specific person into your life. First of all, you have to locate those issues and think, what do I really think about this? Sit down and really think about it. Write it down if it helps. I think this and I think that. Oh yeah, deep down, I know that I think this, this and this. Okay, now go through your list and say, not true, not true, not true. Everything that you don't want to create, and I do this all of the time. If I accidentally have a kind of a thought and an imagination about something, which I often do because I get carried away in the moment sometimes, and then I think, oh, I don't want to create that, I will say not true, and I get the vibration of not true, and I find that that works for me. May not work for you, but it's a really, see what that feeling is that it gives you. So you can say not true, you can say lie, you can say delete. Delete's never worked for me actually, not true or lie, but I sort of went between not true and lie for a bit and then stuck with not true. So you can do that. So whenever you get the feelings that contradict what you want, you just say not true. And in your mind, talk to your subconscious and say, subconscious, when I say not true, I do not want to create that. I'm telling you that that's not what I want to create. Now, all I can say is this has worked for me for a couple of years, so since I sort of started doing it. So hopefully it will work for you. And, you know, everybody's different, aren't they? So some things will work for you and some things won't. Some things I say will and won't, and it might not resonate with you, but it's always worked for me. And it's like a safety net as well. It gives you that really good feeling of, oh, I've just stopped that. But you have to sort of feel it as you say it. You don't sort of try and force a really strong feeling, but see what that vibration is and just find the word that works for you. And you don't have to use not true, lie, or you could choose any word and say to your subconscious, when I say this word, whatever it is, that means that I do not want to create that I've made a mistake, I don't want to create that. Keep it as simple as that. That is one simple way to start sort of dissolving those resistant feelings within you. Now, the best way to release resistance over time, it does take a little bit of time to do this, is to accept your current 3D reality. You just accept it and you say it's part of the process. It is what it is now. I'm not going to fight to change it because I'm not actually changing it. What I'm doing is shifting in to the reality that I want to see, but that will happen when the time is right. So you just accept that resistant feeling and you think it's part of the process. You know it's there, you can't really ignore it, but you just accept that it's there and it will pass. And you can say to yourself, this will pass. I'm feeling like this at the moment, but it's all part of the creation process and it will pass. It's natural for me to feel like this. It's normal for me to feel like this. Most people feel like this, but most people still create what they want in the end. So it will come to me, but I don't have to fight with these resistant feelings. I can just allow them to be there. I cannot engage with them. Don't start having conversations with yourself along the lines of your resistance. So if you're feeling negatively about your ex X at the moment, you want them back, but you're having all these feelings about what happened, and then you have conversations in your head with them that sort of complement the negative, if you know what I mean, then don't do that. Just stop yourself. When you start doing that, just stop. You can say to yourself, stop, or you can say to yourself, not true. Still use the not true, the lie, whatever that word is that you find. Fighting with yourself will only create more resistance. You know, you've heard the term, what you resist persists, and that is true. If you resist your resistance, it will persist. If you just can accept it, and I do use radical acceptance, which I got from Eckhart Tolle, something that I heard of his years ago, and I thought, wow, that kind of really could work for me, because I do need to accept things, because I've always found it very difficult to accept stuff, to accept something not in line with what I want, and I want, no, I want that, and I would fight to get things, and eventually I would get what I wanted. When I look back, I think I've pretty much got everything I've wanted in life, even before I was into this, but it would take ages, because actually what would happen is I would only get it when I'd let go, when I decided it wasn't going to happen, I'd given up. So although I thought that's because I tried all of this amount of time back then, it's because I tried so hard. No, it wasn't. It was because I'd released it, I'd given up, and that's when I got it. It was nothing to do with the hard work. It's getting into the state of letting go. You want the state of detachment, and the best way to do that is just to accept things as they are right now, and don't look at success stories are great, and I tell success stories, but don't look at a success story and think, oh, well, you know, it happened for them, so why can't it happen for me? And then try to do all of the things that you've heard that person did, because we need to go with what works for us. So if you are trying lots of different techniques in order to make something happen, you're feeling like, I've tried this, that didn't work, so I'm going to try this, and then you move on through the techniques. Techniques don't mean anything. They really don't. It's only the feeling and the vibration that means anything at the end of the day. Technique is just to help you get to that point. There's not one technique that's better than any other technique. It's just that one might resonate with you and one might not. But the thing is, you can get hung up on techniques. So let's say you're feeling really resistant at the moment. You know you are attached to the outcome. You've been trying to manifest something. Oh, I use that word, sorry. Trying to create something for a long, long time, and it hasn't happened. Where do you go from here? First of all, you cut out whatever techniques you're doing. You just say stop, which is what I did initially when I was really struggling to make stuff happen. I just decided to stop everything I was doing and reevaluate. So then you go and you reevaluate, and you sort of think, okay, what do I feel good doing? Is there anything out of this list of stuff that I've been doing that I feel good doing? If there is, then just stick with that. For me, it's just getting the feeling of already having it on and off, and then just letting it go, just saying, okay, can't do anything more now. And I might naturally get that feeling now and again over time, but that's all that I do, because as soon as you get hung up on, well, that technique didn't work, so let's try this one, you get more and more resistant. So we want to get rid of that resistance. So using your word, not true, lie, whatever, really, really useful. But the main thing is making the decision from today that you are only going to use whatever it is that makes you feel good in order to create your life. You are not going to look for the outcome, because, as I've said on my members area, there's something called the Xeno Effect in quantum. And basically it states that if you observe something, it cannot change. So if you are observing all of the time and then looking, waiting for change, it cannot change. It's an impossibility. It's a law of physics. It cannot change. But you can look away for 10 minutes and it can happen in that 10 minutes. You don't have to be completely detached all of the time to create that thing that it is that you want. Like I said, you can be just away from it for 10 minutes, completely engrossed in something and not even have it inside of you. That's when it happens. But if you keep looking for it, in a resistant sense. So let's say you don't have any resistance. You really want something to come into your life. You really want to create something, but you don't have any resistance to it. You know you'll be fine if you don't get it. You don't feel resistant. You don't feel trapped or attached to the outcome. You just really, really like it. Well, if you kind of affirmed every single day, writing it down or saying it to yourself, but didn't have that resistance to it, and so then so then people will say, well, you don't have to look away, but that's not true, because you are looked away, because you're getting on with other things, because you're not attached to it. So you can be thinking about something and manifest. Oh, I said the word again, it's so difficult not to. You can be thinking about something and create it in the moment that you're thinking about it, but because you're not feeling resistant or attached to it, then you are in effect looking away from the outcome. Do you know what I mean? It's quite difficult to put that into words, and I do struggle sometimes to put things into words. But looking away does not mean not thinking about it. It just means getting on with your life and not having the resistant feeling and the constantly looking for something with that resistant feeling. That is not looking away, that is observing. But it doesn't seem to be, I have been thinking about things, but in a really happy, carefree way. And a couple of minutes later, I've looked and I've got a text or, to move me forward with whatever it is I want to do, or I hear from somebody or something like that. Something happens, or I get a letter through the post or, something like that. And I've created it because I haven't had that resistant feeling. So I've kind of shifted off the point. I've gone into what resistance is and what observation is. So I'm sorry if I've sort of confused the issue here, but the best technique is to say to yourself it's not true, and to accept your resistance and accept that it's all part of the manifestation process. It's perfectly normal. Everybody gets it pretty much. I think pretty much everybody gets it at some point. There's something you really, really want. It's very difficult not to feel attached to it, isn't it? So you make a decision to not do a ton of techniques, to concentrate on you and feeling better about you. So you think this is all about me. So if I can feel better, then that resistance will release naturally. But if it's here for the time being, okay, it's here for a reason. That's another good way of looking at it. And I did start to do this back in the day, start to say it's here because if I was ready for it, I wouldn't feel so desperate for it. I wouldn't feel, how can I keep hold of something that I feel desperate for? So if I'm feeling that way, then I'm not quite ready for it. But as soon as I start releasing it, then it means I'm more ready for it, and it's going to come at the best possible time for me. I'm not saying anything is judging to tell you whether it's the best possible time for you, but because it's not, it's only you that's judging, because it's your feelings that are holding it back. But if they are holding it back, then maybe they're holding it back for a reason, because you're not quite ready for it. And when you do start to release it, then surely you're becoming more ready for that, because you know, if you're not attached to it so much, then you're going to deal with it a hell of a lot better when it comes, particularly when we're talking about people. I'm not just talking about people here, but particularly that. Anyway, thank you. I'm sorry, it probably was a bit of a waffle, but that's because I haven't done this for such a long time. Having a few weeks off, it really gets me out of the habit. But I hope you've found some little useful bits here. Okay, so if you don't know anything about me, I am an author, and I have a member section on my website which has got a ton of modules inside it, and you also get support from me within there. There's a forum coming within it as well, so if you do join up, then I think realistically the forum is a few weeks away, but not that long. It started, development has started on it already, so it is in the process. So that's £5 a month, and you can cancel at any time. So if you want to pop along to my website and have a look and see what that's all about, then please do that. My son has a Law of Attraction channel. He does call it the Law of Attraction. He does refer to it as that. It's all specific person, all get your ex back fast. He's really good at this stuff. And he's got a recent success story on there, actually, of something that happened to a friend of his, although the actual success story isn't particularly recent. But that's quite interesting if you want to pop along and have a look at that. And I will link to his channel now above. And anyway, other than that, thank you so much for listening. Sorry if it was a bit waffly. Hopefully my next one will be a little bit more on point.